3-star chef with a mission, the Amritsar boy who nearly fed over 7 million people during these tiring times in India. Vikas Khanna, it's such a pleasure speaking with you. Appreciate you taking your time out and speaking to us at ET now. You've already fed 7 million people during these times. What is the aim?
We didn't start with any aim. We just wanted to help in any capacity we could. Chota sa shuru kiya tha from a single delivery to, and then it kept going on, and we are very proud of that. I think many people joined hands. That's why it became so big overnight. And the requirement was that we didn't have time to plan this or think it through in many places. So we had to just keep going. There was no way to sit and complain and to have, so we used all our energy to just feed people. We didn't think of any way we could reach out. And it all started from a small tweet. So,
it's not something new that you're doing. Your involvement with the Gurdwaras is already known. A lot of people already talk about it. It's so wonderful that, we're seeing people like you step in during these times. I just want to understand, these are unprecedented times because nobody had ever thought that there will be a time like this, that, we will see people walking on the roads. I just want to understand what was a thought that was going on in your mind when you started this entire initiative?
So it all started from a scam email jo hoti hai na. So it had an old image of an ashram with elderly Indian people there. And there was a button for donate. It looked like a newsletter for a foundation. And, I just pressed it but I felt something in my heart that there will be a food shortage. We're talking about April 1st. It's been almost 2 months, nothing. But we realized that this movement was correct because we started from old age homes, orphanages, and leprosy centers. So this was our initial focus. And we requested people to send us information in the neighborhood if they have any kind of place which needs help or ration.
Right.
And then slowly I started developing what you call a food chain. The requirement in an ashram or a place, and then you source this because of the lockdowns and transportation was extremely hard. The logistics were like burning us because, I'm sitting so far. So we realized that you need to get somebody close by that place. And then I'll again tweet, please tell me somebody close by to this place. This is where we're delivering. Many times we failed. Every day we were failing. And then NDRF came on board, National Disaster Response Force, and they said, you don't worry about the logistics, you leave the logistics on us.
Right.
And we will run the operation for you. And Satyaji and the team have been just like 24 hours on the ground. And just to give you an example, we were doing something in Varanasi at this railway station when we said we need to feed people in the trains.
Right.
Small idea. But to feed people in the trains needs extreme logistics. You have to have the food ready, and the food has to be right. And sourcing the food there, and then after that, figuring out how do you take the food to the people. And we are doing this pilot run. Before I start anything, even on the gas stations or deliveries, I do a pilot run because we fail too fast if the pilot runs are not done properly.
True.
So pilot run mein humne kiya, so that was like amazing because 2 times we failed in the pilot run because, we didn't understand the scheduling of the trains. And secondly, when you had people going there, you need to have the proper PPE kits.
Right.
You can't have your volunteers without that.
Did your experience of working in the kitchen really help, to go ahead and, start all of this?
You know my mother? Do you know her? No.
I've read a lot of interviews and seen a lot of interviews of her.
In beginning, I think it was April 11th, I totally would fail so much and it will take toll on me because places where the food didn't go and you had promised them. It was heartbreaking because, so many layers of it. Some were such corrupt layers and people would take advantage because they knew I was sitting in New York. मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? फोन भी नहीं कर सकता उनको. So 11th April or 12th April, I called my mom and I said, Mom, I just can't do this. I think I should call it quits. And she talked like you then. She's saying, 50 साल से गुरुद्वारों में, घरों में, कहाँ ते ट्रेनिंग की है ताकि तू टिकटॉक के वीडियो बना सके, सेल्फी खींच सके. My country needs you right now. And I don't want my son to walk away and say,
Oh wow! So those were the words of your mother, and I think that is something, and also the blessings of your mother, if I should put it like that, isn't it?
she keeps me very stable mentally. But because I work with so many different time zones and all, so she's my stable point. Gravity, that's what I call it.
And that is why you told me I just take calls from her.
Yeah. And in this whole thing, I have decided that, besides work, I only take her phone calls because she'll tell me and she has to send me every day how many steps she walks.
I can vouch for it that it's very, very hard to get you, Vikas Khanna. But let me ask you, you're also getting a lot of support from other partners, partners like PayTM, Vijay, Shekhar, Sharma, GOQii, Hungerbox. A lot of people are on board, with this effort. How did the partners come along? What kind of support are they providing?
But there are many more now. We have India Gate, we have Dawat, we have and even the Eid event we did, we had almost 16 partners because, you were doing 200,000 meals
right.
in a few hours. So you need to have partners because, shuru I was just shelling in my own money and I did not understand logistics of this. But later, my friend Vishal Gondal from GOQii, he said, let me connect you to Vijay from PayTM and he's a force. He is truly a force. If you ever speak to him, he's so much of energy.
I actually have spoken to him and he was the one who put me in touch with you.
And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. And this balances us out. And then I spoke to Vijay and he was amazing. And he instantly connected. He's saying, I absolutely get it. I said, listen, we have the resources in a way that we can donate everything to people. But right now, it's not about donation. It's a helping hands. Sure. When we are doing something, we need to take the food and deliver in people's hands. And we have to do it in such a method that the entire world is watching that how India will deal with this.
Right.
And we have to do it in that standard. And even if you look at the pictures of my kitchens, which we are running, and even the organization of the way people are standing and social distancing, and with dignity we serve. And it's amazing that, how much effort goes into not controlling and monitoring this because you can't, because it's all over India.
Right. Because I know we're very short on time, so I will just take two more questions with you. You were talking about the key challenges. Firstly, it was very difficult to figure out the logistics. Timing was an issue. What were some of the challenges that you faced during this entire exercise?
I think the biggest challenge I faced was time zones. So difficult because, you're trying to get a delivery somewhere and it's already 4 o'clock in New York in the night. Until the delivery doesn't reach, I can't sleep because that's my nature. I'm that person who, till the last meal is not served in the restaurant, I will not sit down. I will not eat. Because I know that you make mistakes in the end. You take things for granted.
Right.
And 4 o'clock, and then it's 5 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock. Of course, there's a lot of more work to finish, but it was amazing. Those logistics were difficult. And then I think the biggest challenge which I faced was not to be negative.
I think that's a huge learning. I think it's also a huge learning as well, right?
When you didn't have any support from anyone, nowhere, when you started, and it was easy for us to fall apart and be negative and say we are giving up. But staying positive at that time was the biggest blessing I got. And then I got so many people who I saw was doing such amazing work, like Manish Mundra, Sonu Sood, and everybody was like joining forces with me in a way that, everybody was parallel and synced with each other. And I saw some of the things were so, it could disheartening, where we can be negative, but we decided we're going to stay positive. And that was, I promise, that was the only thing which kept me going. And I think tomorrow we're touching 8 million meals.
Wow.
And I'm dedicating that to Chef Gordon Ramsay, 8th million meal, because he's the one who gave me the international stage first time.
Vikas, before I let you go, and this is going to be my last question, I want you to show people the Excel sheets that you're working with. And also I want to ask you, are you better with Excel sheets now?
Horrible. I'm just horrible. Just now I got such a big Excel sheet of Big Bazaar and I'm like, I can't read it. I need to call somebody to help me translate this because I'm terrible with numbers. I'm always been bad with numbers. But somehow I can memorize recipes with amounts, but I can't do any other numbers. I can tell you if there's 600 people, ye lagega, and that is exact. You don't have to do extra drop of water. It's not precise. तो ये बहुत मुश्किल था, इतना पढ़ना पड़ा ना इसके लिए. And this has been one of the biggest blessings and a bliss for me that I didn't give up on April 11th. My mom was hard on me that time, but when she said, you got to stand up and serve your country, and that whole thing really was like, she's right. All this training, all these years where people have fed you or trained you, you owed it to all these people, and you need to stand up. And that was what.
Because how important is it for people like you to come and help people during such times? And this is really my last question.
When one hand falls apart, the other hand has to support it. That's what I say. I'm not here to play any game. I don't have to gain anything from this.
Right.
I'm just there living in the moment. And you can't imagine what it feels like. And a delivery reaches. So I have this thing when the delivery reaches some people and they want to see you. And it's like sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning and you've been up and you do a video call and somebody's blessing you from a leprosy center in Hyderabad or Calicut or Delhi or an old age home where abandoned parents are there.
Right.
When they call you and they say that, this is a meal which is like from Mahanpurna. It's been so many days. Everybody's facing difficulties on their capacities, right. But that just lifts me up and I say, we got to move forward. Abhi mere paas kuch nahi karne ko. I just need to focus on this. And as long as I can do it, I'm going to continue to do this. And
Vikas, all the best for all your endeavors. Thank you very, very much for speaking to us at ET Now. It's such a pleasure having you on our channel.
I'm so sorry for not getting.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.